Welcome back to the Triad Scooters YouTube channel. My name is Billy Watts. We are here today with Triad's newest rider, Angus Hughes. So we all know who Angus Hughes is. He is the current Australian champion from 2019 and the reigning world number 4, was it?
Yeah, 4.
Number 4, which is a pretty insane achievement to make. Angus has been riding scooters for how long?
So I've been riding scooters for about 10 years now. I got my first scooter when I was 12 years old, so about 10 years. My dad and my brother love surfing and skateboarding and stuff. That was kind of the main sort of hobby they were into and sort of bring me up doing. So I got a skateboard when I was about 8 years old and started riding that around, but I didn't really find too much enjoyment out of it, and I felt like it was super hard for my age and stuff. I think it was the first day I went to the skate park. I seen one of my mates from school there, and he had a scooter, and I was just having a little bash about on that. And then I found it super fun. And then when I think when I was about 12 years old, I got bought a Razor A1, I think it was, like one of the super old ones. And it just like kicked off from there, kept going to the skate park and seeing obviously heaps of people have made these awesome customizations and like different grips, different grip tapes, wheels and whatnot. And yeah, back in the day, obviously you'd know with the Razor A1, how the head tube was like really shaky. So people started to bolt them through there, so it was like super stable, or not super stable, but definitely stabilized them a lot more than what they were.
Given that we've both ridden those type of scooters, when we first started to where we're at now, do you have your own set of, personal preference in terms of size, deck width, wheel size, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so me being a park-based rider, I'd love my scooters to be not too big, but not too small, so I can still do big overhead tricks and flips comfortably, so I don't feel like I'm gonna poo shoot, so I'm just comfortable all around riding my scooter. I'd say my preferred size would probably be around 19.5 to 20, and I just came off riding a 5 wide, so 4.5 was my main go-to, but then I got pushed up to a 5, which was my most comfortable sort of size, so I'd be looking at 4.8, 5 around there. As I'm growing up a bit now, I just like a little bit bigger deck, a bit more foot room and stuff. It helps me catch the deck with bigger feet and stuff like that. So yeah, that's why I prefer a bigger scooter.
You have recently just joined Triad here, and we don't currently have a deck that is 20 inches long or 5 inches wide for a park orientated deck. So maybe that's something that we could do in the near future for you. Yeah. We'll definitely have a look into that. Well, I know you've had a couple of sponsors in the past and you've always been quite loyal to them. You haven't just jumped from sponsor to sponsor. So, leaving your previous sponsor and now joining Triad must have been a pretty big deal for you. Was there anything in particular that made you transition over?
Obviously, you and I have been mates for a while now, and I've seen Triad come out of their shell from the very start and see where the brand's going. When I got given the opportunity by yourself and the guys over at Triad to work within the company and have more of a say in what goes into the brand, that I could be more involved with such a solid team, and I definitely jumped on board straight away.
Yeah, having you on board is a massive plus for us, and I know that we're gonna really push it forward. All right, so given that we do a sport that is quite high risk when it comes to all the tricks and everything, so how have you gone in terms of injuries? Have you had a bad run, a good run? Any big injuries?
Broke my leg when I was really young before I got sponsored. My tibia in 4 spots, 2 clean snaps and a spiral fracture. Obviously it was a pretty bad break, so went straight into an emergency, and they put a back slab right on the back of my leg, and they were like molding it when my leg was broken, and I was like screaming in pain. They wrapped it up and stuff, and I thought it was all over. I was like calming down a bit, and then they came back about 15 minutes later, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna have to take that one off and do a whole back slab, like all the way up, like close to my crotch, and I was like, damn. So I had to take it all off and then mold my leg again, and I was screaming in pain again. They wrapped it up and it was all good luckily, but next morning fiberglassed it, learnt how to get up and walk downstairs and upstairs, so that was pretty rough, but the recovery time was about 3 months, I think. Properly had nerve damage as well. Yeah, I had to go through physio and stuff like that. It took me about probably 2 weeks to really start to feel a little bit somewhat confident again, and then I don't know, probably a month properly until I could start doing tricks without really hesitating and wondering how I'm gonna land and stuff like that.
I certainly know what you mean. A lot of people think that when they do an injury, the doctor turns around and tells, all right, you've got cast on for 6 weeks, and you're like, I'll be riding in 7 weeks. And it's just not the case. Yeah. It takes a mental toll as well as a physical toll. So you come back to riding, although your leg might be 100% again, you've got to find that groove again and find that confidence to really start throwing down. I've seen people, have a big injury and then never be the same rider again. again. So credit to you for coming back when you were younger and just probably being fearless, and just sending it again. But what style of riding do you really enjoy doing? I know I see you do a lot of park orientated tricks, but I've also seen you on the rails and the ledges too.
Yeah, so I mean, when I'm at the skate park, I kind of just try and ride everything that's in the skate park, so I try and keep it a little bit diverse. But I definitely enjoy more of the park style riding with the overhead tricks and the flips and whatnot like that. But if you're with friends and stuff, there's always fun little games you can play, like games of scoot, call the shots, just little things like that. Always lightens up the session for sure.
I think that's cool because it pushes us to learn different tricks that I know you're good at, and then you try to learn the tricks that I might have a bit more experience at. So it's just really cool.
Yeah, I back that.
So I know that you came fourth at the Worlds last year. Would you say that that's been your highlight of your scootering career so far?
Yeah, or even just getting invited to big comps in the scene, like I know Action Space and stuff has just recently come about, so that's another thing I'm really stoked to be a part of. But yeah, for sure, coming fourth at Worlds would probably be one of the biggest achievements for sure.
Were you nervous? Was the pressure off? What was your sort of frame of mind then?
We only get the 1 day practice, which is pretty nerve-wracking, so everyone's in a similar position on how they're going to attack their comp runs and what sort of tricks they're going to do and the flow of the park. So it is pretty nerve-wracking, but yeah, I was just trying to sort of work my own run out and get the tricks down, try and get consistent in that 1 day of practice before the qualifying runs, and then try and do my best on the day.
So 2020 was definitely a different year for all of us. As we weren't able to compete. Australia, for example, have been in lockdown. Us here in Melbourne, we haven't been able to ride properly for close to 6 months now. And what's been the hardest part of that for you, and what are you looking forward to the most?
Content's been one of the main things that I've been struggling with at the moment. I haven't really been able to go out and film new content as all the skate parks have been closed and whatnot, but I have got a little rail at home that I've been messing around about. But yeah, that's probably the hardest thing, is just not really having content and filming with mates and having fun.
How long do you think it was going to take you to get back into the groove once you're able to ride again? I know we have a couple of virtual comps coming up, Action Space being one of them, and we might not have very much time to practice for that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, obviously I feel a bit nervous, and it's going to take me probably about a week or two to get back in the groove and have that mojo back to do those tricks and ride bigger ramps. And even the fitness is a big thing. Not being able to be out there and being active will play a big part in my comp run and stuff like that, but we'll both get out there and give it our all, obviously, like we do in every comp. So not too phased, but still obviously a little bit more nervous than I would be.
And what do you think about, we're seeing like some of our competitors from around the world, being out at these skate parks and putting down, big tricks, and here we are just sitting there scrolling on Instagram, seeing all this crazy stuff go down, and we can't, leave more than 5 kilometers of our house. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, definitely seeing all my friends over the world and stuff on their Instagrams, just doing crazy stunts, obviously, and on way bigger skate parks that we have, obviously that does make us a little bit jealous, I'm sure, but it does annoy me that we can't go out and ride, but that's just the way it is, obviously, here in Melbourne at the moment. But definitely cannot wait to get out there and just ride a skate park again and just see my mates and do our usual routine kind of thing during the week.
That's fun. It's funny you say routine. I know personally a couple of riders who have a specific routine when they're coming up to do, a trick that might scare them or anything like that. Do you have any sort of rituals, or, do you have OCD or anything like that when it comes to trying some tricks that, do scare you a little bit?
I don't have too much of a routine when I get to a skate park. I kind of just warm up, do the tricks that I know that I'm comfortable with and will warm up doing. Nothing too crazy, obviously, but then I just try and step it up, eat like little bit by little bit, and try and film clips, even if it's something new or something that I haven't posted before. I don't really have any OCD or anything when it comes to a clip, but if it is a little bit sketchy, I do tend to redo it and try and get a little bit cleaner, but it just depends on how hard the trick is, I guess. What
would be, do you have 3 tricks off the top of your head that you do straight away as soon as you get to a skate park as a warm-up?
Probably a whip front scooter air, just bri whips, just like flowy overhead tricks and stuff that just warm up my legs and my arms just for the session, gets my heart pumping a little bit. But yeah, that would probably be the go-to. Flips and stuff like that, nothing too crazy, but definitely gets the heart.
Every rider has a favourite rider. Do you have, 1 or 2 riders that you admire and really like their style of riding?
I'd probably say Ryan Williams has to be one, just because the crazy stuff he's doing and pushing for the sport, crazy stunts on the mega ramp. He's got his own place now and just constantly pushing and doing crazy worldies and whatnot. So he'd have to be one. Obviously my closer mates and stuff like yourself, Morrison, Matty C and stuff like that, all them boys, just because we always ride together and we just constantly push each other and feed off each other's like energy and all that each session. So there's probably another, and just like some of the street dogs like John Dev, like Nick Tedrick, all them sort of stylish dudes, they're crazy, man. They're definitely people to look up to.
There you go, as you see, even your favourite rider has a favourite rider. Alright, so I think we're going to wrap up the video there for today, guys. We appreciate you all tuning in. Stay on the lookout for plenty more content coming. Angus and I are going to be out at the skate park as soon as we can, filming bangers, calling the shots, all those kind of videos. We'll be out there trying to bring you all really exciting content. That's going to be pretty much it for today. Appreciate everyone tuning in. See you in the next one.